My friend, listen carefully. God is preparing a blessing so vast, so beyond what you can now imagine, that when it arrives, it will not simply fit into your life, it will redefine it. It is the Banda. Do not be discouraged by silence, for silence is the language of preparation. When nothing seems to move, when doors seem closed, it is then that the greatest work is being accomplished in the unseen. Just because you do not yet see the blessing does not mean it is not already yours. The transformation begins within you. The blessing that is coming will not only alter circumstances, it will awaken a new identity in you. To receive something great, you must first become great in your awareness. And so your task is not to chase nor to worry, but to live. In the end, imagine yourself already walking in the reality of your answered prayer. Feel it real. Rest in it. Every delay has meaning. Every seeming setback is a divine arrangement, pushing you toward the right place, the right time, the right unfolding. The size of the waiting is the measure of the blessing. For God will not hand you something small. No, He is preparing something that will stretch your vision, enlarge your heart, and redefine what you believe is possible. So let go of your striving. Cease your anxious searching. The blessing is already set aside for you. Walk in the confidence that it is done. Speak with the assurance that you are chosen. Live as though the promise is already fulfilled. And when it comes, and it will, it shall be so big, so unmistakable, that you will know beyond all doubt. This was prepared for you, not earned, not forced, but prepared. And it will not only bless you, it will redefine your life. The unseen hand of God is always working, though you cannot see it. Every delay and silence is divine preparation. Life often gives us moments where it feels as though nothing is happening. We pray, we hope, we believe, yet the evidence we long for remains absent. It is in these moments that the mind begins to doubt, to question whether God has heard us at all. But in truth, it is in these very seasons of stillness that His greatest work is unfolding. The unseen hand is arranging what your eyes cannot yet behold. When you encounter silence, do not mistake it for abandonment. Silence is not absence, it is preparation. Just as a seed lies buried in the darkness of the soil, unseen by the human eye, so too does your blessing take root in hidden places. The seed does not show signs of life immediately, yet within, a process beyond comprehension is occurring. In time, the sprout breaks through the ground, revealing what has been happening all along. So it is with your life. Every delay is evidence of a greater unfolding beneath the surface. The human tendency is to equate progress with visibility. If we do not see results, we assume nothing is happening. But the unseen realm is far more active than what appears to our senses. The silence is not stillness, it is motion, only concealed. The hand of God moves quietly, aligning circumstances, preparing people and shaping conditions, so that when the blessing appears, it will be undeniable that it was not your doing, but His. Consider the times you felt delayed, only to look back later and see how every detour was a hidden blessing. What you thought was wasted time was in fact divine timing. The person who walked away, the job that did not open, the opportunity that slipped through your fingers, each was a piece of the unseen orchestration. Had it arrived earlier, you would not have been ready. Had it been given in haste, it would not have lasted. Delay then is not denial. It is the signature of something being perfected for you. This unseen hand works beyond logic. While you grow restless, it is not idle. While you wonder, it is weaving. And though your senses may cry out for proof, faith calls you to rest in assurance. For what is faith if not trust in what cannot yet be seen? To believe in the unseen is to acknowledge that the silence of God is not empty but full of purpose. The blessing prepared for you is not small. If it were, it would not take this time. The greater the promise, the greater the preparation. Just as a palace takes longer to build than a cottage, so too does the magnitude of your blessing determine the length of its silent construction. God's hand is shaping it in such a way that when it arrives, you will recognize it as more than coincidence. It will be providence. So the next time you encounter stillness, do not despair. Close your eyes and remind yourself, the unseen hand is working. Though I cannot trace it, I trust it. Though I cannot see it, I believe it. For every silence is not a punishment, but preparation. And when the time is right, what has been hidden shall be revealed, and it will be greater than anything you once imagined. Your inner vision shapes the blessing. What you dare to imagine and believe becomes the mold into which the blessing flows. Everything you experience on the outside is born from what you have first accepted within. Life bends itself to the images impressed upon your mind, whether you are aware of them or not. If you hold the vision of lack, struggle, and limitation, then your days will reflect that belief. But if you dare to see yourself in possession of the blessing you seek, if you dare to accept inwardly the reality of abundance, health, love, or success, then the world will conspire to make it so. The blessing cannot flow where there is no mold to contain it. Imagine water being poured out. It must have a vessel or it spills away. Your inner vision is that vessel. When you imagine clearly, when you feel the reality of your desire as if it is already done, you are shaping the container into which God's blessing will be poured. Without that vision, the blessing has no place to land. But with it, you become a magnet drawing into your experience the very thing you have dared to see. This is why imagination is holy. What you allow yourself to picture, especially in moments of stillness, creates the pattern for your life. If you constantly rehearse fears, you prepare the ground for them to manifest. But if you choose deliberately and consistently to picture your life fulfilled, to see yourself walking in the promise, then that unseen image begins to shape the outer world. The unseen becomes seen, the invisible becomes visible, and the imagined becomes real. Think of an architect. Before a great building rises, a design exists in the mind. Blueprints are drawn, every detail considered, before even the first stone is laid. Without that inner vision, no structure could come forth. The same is true of your life. Your imagination is the blueprint. God provides the materials, the timing, the circumstances, but it is your inner vision that determines what form they take. What you dare to imagine is important because imagination requires courage. It is easy to see what is in front of you, but it takes faith to see what is not yet visible. When everything around you looks contrary to the blessing, to still hold the vision of fulfillment is the greatest act of belief. In that moment, you declare with your heart, "What I see within is greater than what I see without." And life always follows that declaration. Belief seals the vision. You may imagine something once, but until you believe it, it remains a fleeting picture. Belief fixes it in place, making it solid in your consciousness. Once fixed, it becomes inevitable. The world must bend, conditions must shift, people must appear, because your inner vision has carved the space for the blessing to flow. The blessing does not create the vision creates the blessing. Therefore, guard your inner pictures. Refuse to let your mind wander into fear and despair. Each thought is a seed, and seeds grow. Plant what you wish to harvest. Dare to see yourself greater, fuller, richer, stronger. Dare to imagine that the blessing is already yours. For once you hold it within, it is only a matter of time before it takes form without. And when it does, you will know it was not chance, but the outworking of the vision you carried within your own heart. Redefinition requires renewal. This blessing won't just add to your life, it will change the way you see yourself and the world. Too often we think of blessings as mere additions, as though they come to decorate our lives without transforming them. But what God is preparing for you is not a small token or a passing gift. It is something so powerful that it will demand a new identity from you. It will stretch your perspective, broaden your faith, and awaken you to a life you have not yet dared to live. This blessing does not simply enter your life, it redefines it. To be redefined means you cannot remain the same. Just as a caterpillar is redefined by becoming a butterfly, your present form of thinking and being must give way to something higher. Renewal is the process by which you are made ready. Renewal happens when old patterns, limiting beliefs, and small identities begin to fall away, making room for something greater to take their place. The blessing prepared for you is not designed to fit the old version of you. It comes to awaken a new you, a greater you, the you that has always existed within, but has been waiting for its time to emerge. This is why certain seasons of life feel uncomfortable. Renewal is rarely gentle. It often requires letting go of things you once clung to, releasing people who no longer align with your future, or shedding ways of thinking that kept you small. You may feel like you are losing, but in truth, you are being refined. Every stripping away is part of the preparation for redefinition. The blessing cannot attach itself to an old identity. It must meet the renewed self that is capable of carrying it with wisdom and strength. When this blessing arrives, it will not simply change your circumstances. It will change how you see. The world will no longer appear as it once did. Where you once saw obstacles, you will see opportunities. Where you once felt fear, you will feel courage. Where you once believed you were limited, you will know you are limitless. The blessing itself becomes a mirror, reflecting back to you the truth of who you are, chosen, capable, abundant, and complete. And because your vision of yourself changes, so too will your relationship with others and with life itself. You will no longer walk timidly, hoping for scraps of favor. You will walk boldly, knowing you carry divine favor. You will no longer shrink in the presence of challenge, for you will recognize that the very challenges were the instruments of your renewal. The redefinition comes not only from receiving, but from realizing you have become the kind of person who was always worthy of such a blessing. This is why you must welcome the process of renewal instead of resisting it. When you feel things shifting, when the old no longer fits, remind yourself that it is not loss, it is preparation. You are being remade for the blessing that is coming, and when it finally appears, you will understand why the renewal was necessary. Because without it, you would not have recognized the gift, nor had the capacity to carry it. So embrace the renewal. Trust that every change is shaping you for a greater revelation of who you are. The blessing that is coming is not just for your life, it is for your identity. It will redefine you. And when it does, you will see yourself and the world through eyes that have been made new. Faith is acceptance, not struggle. The blessing arrives the moment you accept it inwardly, long before it shows outwardly. Too many live as though faith were a battle, as if they must wrestle with God or force their desires into existence. But true faith is not a struggle, it is rest. It is the quiet knowing that what you have asked for is already done. When you accept it in the silence of your heart, the work is complete. The outer world only lags behind to reveal what you have already claimed within. Struggle belongs to doubt. When you are wrestling, questioning, or chasing, it is because you do not yet believe the blessing is yours. Faith does not chase, it receives. Faith does not beg, it embraces. The moment you inwardly accept, the blessing is sealed. You may not yet see the evidence, but the reality is already yours, planted like a seed that will in time break through the soil. The harvest does not depend on your struggle. It depends on your acceptance. Consider the air you breathe. You do not struggle to receive it. You do not plead for oxygen, nor worry whether it will fill your lungs. You simply inhale, knowing it is yours. That is the nature of true faith. The blessing is already present, waiting for your acceptance. When you grasp this truth, you stop striving and begin living in the end. You carry yourself differently, you speak differently. You speak differently, you live as though it is already done, because inwardly you know it is. Faith begins in imagination. The instant you can see yourself with the blessing, the instant you feel it as real within, you have accepted it. That acceptance is the key that unlocks the invisible and makes it visible. Many wait to believe until they see, but the mystery is this: you will only see once you first believe. The blessing cannot reveal itself to a heart that doubts, but it flows easily to a heart that has accepted. This is why so many remain stuck. They think their effort, their striving, their endless repetition will bring the promise to pass. But effort without acceptance is only noise. It is not your frantic struggle that moves the heavens. It is your quiet faith. Faith is not an attempt to make something happen, but the recognition that it already has. When you accept, you align. When you align, you attract. And when you attract, the world simply rearranges itself to reflect what you already know within. Do not underestimate the power of inner acceptance. It changes everything. Once you accept that the blessing is yours, the waiting no longer feels heavy. The silence no longer feels empty. You begin to carry peace because you know the end is certain. You no longer wake up anxious because inwardly you already have what you asked for. And soon the outer world catches up, for it has no choice but to mirror your inner conviction. The blessing arrives inwardly the moment you say yes, the moment you drop resistance, the moment you let go of doubt, the moment you feel the prayer answered within. That is the true arrival. Outwardly it may take time to appear, but inwardly it is already finished. So stop struggling, rest in acceptance, live as though it is already yours, because in truth it is. And the day will come when the invisible becomes visible, and you will see with your eyes what you first accepted in your heart. The greater the preparation, the greater the gift. The waiting season is proof of something extraordinary forming. Nothing of true value is built overnight. A great cathedral is not constructed in a day, nor is a diamond formed in an instant. The deeper the foundation, the grander the structure that will stand upon it. The longer the refining, the more brilliant the gem will shine. So it is with your life. If you find yourself waiting, if you feel delayed, understand this: you are not being denied. You are being prepared for something far greater than you imagine. Waiting is not wasted time. Waiting is proof that something worth waiting for is in the making. If the blessing were small, it would have already arrived. But when heaven prepares something vast, it requires time. Just as a child takes 9 months to be formed in the hiddenness of the womb, your blessing is taking shape in the unseen before it can be delivered into the seen. Every day of waiting adds depth to its formation, ensuring that when it comes, it will not be fragile, but strong, lasting, and overflowing. This is why impatience robs so many of their peace. They confuse preparation with neglect, delay with denial. They look at the silence and think nothing is happening, when in reality, Everything is happening. Just because you cannot yet see the construction does not mean the foundation is not being laid. God builds in secret, He shapes in silence, and the longer the silence, the greater the revelation will be when it finally breaks forth. Think of Joseph, who was given a dream of greatness but endured years of waiting, betrayal, and prison. To the impatient heart, it would appear as though the dream had been forgotten. But those very years of preparation were proof of the magnitude of the gift. He was not destined for a small position, but for one of immense authority. And such a destiny required a long season of preparation. When the time was right, he rose to the exact place he had seen in his dream, and every moment of waiting was revealed as essential. Your life follows the same pattern. The blessing being formed for you is not ordinary. That is why the season feels long, why the silence feels heavy. You are not forgotten. You are being readied. The very weight of your waiting is evidence of the size of the promise. The greater the preparation, the greater the gift. If it takes time, it is because God is arranging every detail so perfectly that when it appears, you will not question whether it was for you. You will know it could only have been prepared by divine hands. So learn to treasure the waiting season. Do not curse it, but honor it. For one day you will look back and understand that the waiting was not empty, but full. It was proof that something extraordinary was forming, something that required care, detail, and precision. And when it comes, it will not be small, it will be vast, it will be undeniable, and it will redefine your life. Live as though it is already yours. By assuming the feeling of the answered prayer, you align yourself with the blessing's arrival. The secret to manifestation lies not in waiting passively for the blessing to appear, but in living from the end as though it has already come. To live in this way is to shift your state of being, to carry within you the assurance that what you have asked for is finished. The outer world only reflects the inner conviction. When you feel yourself to already be the recipient, the blessing rushes toward you, drawn by the certainty you embody. This is the essence of faith. Faith does not merely hope for the future, it claims the future as now. When you assume the feeling of the answered prayer, you take possession of it inwardly. You no longer beg or wonder. You rest in the reality of its fulfillment. Your words change. Your posture changes. Even your energy shifts. People around you can sense it, though they may not understand it. They feel something different about you because you are no longer waiting. You are living in the end. Think of a traveler who has purchased a ticket. Though the train is not yet arrived, though the destination is still ahead, they carry themselves with confidence. They do not question whether they will arrive, for the ticket in their hand is proof. In the same way, when you assume the feeling of the answered prayer, you walk with the certainty of one who already holds the blessing. The outer journey has not yet caught up, but inwardly it is finished. Feeling the prayer makes every an answered journey blessing. The outer journey is not yet caught up, but inwardly it is finished. This way of living requires imagination. To feel something that is not yet visible demands courage. Anyone can believe what their eyes see, but true power lies in believing what the heart knows. When you imagine the blessing fulfilled, and when you let that feeling saturate your being, you send out a signal that aligns with its arrival. Life has no choice but to mirror that state back to you. The world is a reflection of the inner life you carry. Living as though it is already yours does not mean pretending or forcing. It is not a performance, but a state of rest. You are not trying to make others believe. You are embodying the truth for yourself, and in time the world conforms. For everything outward is compelled to match the inner conviction. If you feel lack, you draw lack. If you feel abundance, you draw abundance. The law is simple. You receive what you believe you already are. This is why you must guard your inner atmosphere. If you let doubt dominate, you postpone the blessing. But if you hold steady in the assumption that it is already done, the blessing must appear. It may come suddenly or gradually, but it will come. Because the moment you aligned inwardly, the process was set in motion. So live in the end. Speak with gratitude as though it is finished. Walk with confidence as though the door is already open. Rest in assurance as though the prayer has already been answered. For when you live as though it is already yours, you prepare the way for the unseen to become seen and the promise to take form. And soon what you held within will stand before you undeniable because you dared to live as though it was already yours. My friend, understand this. The blessing that is being prepared for you is not ordinary. It is not small. It is not something that will come and go. It is something so vast that it will change you, renew you, and redefine the very way you see yourself and the world. The silence you feel, the waiting you endure, the inner vision you hold, and the faith you live by, all of it is shaping you for what is already yours. Do not be discouraged by what seems delayed. Do not give in to doubt when the evidence appears missing. The unseen hand is always working. Your inner vision is always shaping. Your faith is always aligning. And the greater the preparation, the greater the gift that must follow. So live in the end. Carry yourself as one who has already received. Speak with the certainty of one who knows the promise is fulfilled. Rest in the assurance that God's timing is perfect and that when the blessing arrives, it will not only meet your expectation, it will exceed it beyond measure. The day will come when what you once held only in your heart will stand before your very eyes. And in that moment you will know. It was always prepared, always promised, and always yours. Thank you for listening. And may you walk forward with confidence, peace, and faith, knowing that the blessing on its way is so big it will redefine your life.
Let me tell you something about the man who walks alone. He's not weak, he's not lost, he's not incomplete. He is a fortress, built brick by brick with resilience, purpose, and self. When a man lives alone, society often casts him as someone lacking something. But what they don't understand is that solitude isn't loneliness, it's power. Solitude is the space where strength is forged, where a man looks in the mirror and meets his truest self. No distractions, no noise, just him and the vision he's creating. You see, when you live alone, you don't have someone constantly validating your worth or soothing your insecurities. And that's not a bad thing. It's a gift. Because when no one else is there to build you up, you learn to build yourself. You develop the kind of emotional independence that makes you unshakable. A man who walks this path isn't running from love. He's running toward himself. He's finding out who he is when no one else is watching. He's mastering his focus, sharpening his mind, and building a life that aligns with his vision. And let me tell you this, when a man becomes clear on his vision, there's nothing he cannot achieve. Don't get it twisted. This isn't about rejecting companionship. It's about understanding that no relationship will ever complete you. Fulfillment comes from within. A man who lives alone isn't sitting in the dark waiting for someone to light his fire. He's already burning with his own. Every day he's redefining what it means to live a full life. He's not tied down by distractions or false expectations. His time is his own. His energy is his own. And when the time comes to let someone into that life, he does it not because he needs them, but because he chooses them. So, to the man who lives alone, let the world say what it will. Let them call you incomplete, misunderstood, or different. Because while they talk, you build. While they judge, you grow. And when they finally see the empire you've created, they'll realize that a man who can stand strong in solitude is a man who can conquer anything. Living alone is often misunderstood, seen as a state of lack or isolation, but in truth, it is one of the most powerful experiences a man can embrace. When a man lives alone, he is given the unique opportunity to face himself fully, without distractions, without interference, and without the crutches of external relationships. In that space of solitude, strength is not just developed, it is forged. In a world that constantly tells us we need someone else to complete us, living alone teaches a man that he is already whole. This realization doesn't come easily. It often begins with discomfort, with silence that feels deafening, and emptiness that feels overwhelming. But as days turn into weeks and weeks into months, something shifts. The silence becomes a sanctuary, and the emptiness becomes a canvas. The man begins to see that he is capable of filling his life with meaning on his own terms. He learns to stand tall even when there is no one beside him, and that is where his true strength is born. Strength in solitude comes from self-reliance. Living alone means there is no one else to lean on when things go wrong, no one to share the burden of daily life. It is in these moments that a man discovers his ability to handle challenges on his own. He learns how to fix what is broken, to organize his life, and to make decisions without seeking approval or reassurance. This isn't just about practical skills. It's about cultivating a mindset that says, I can handle whatever comes my way. You can say, over time, this self-reliance builds a deep well of confidence, the kind that cannot be shaken by the opinions or actions of others. Another aspect of strength developed in solitude is emotional resilience. In relationships, it's easy to lean on others for comfort and validation, but living alone requires a man to confront his emotions head-on. He cannot escape sadness, frustration, or fear by seeking solace in someone else. Instead, he learns to sit with those feelings, to process them, and to grow from them. This process may be painful, but it creates a man who is emotionally unshakable. He becomes someone who doesn't crumble under pressure or fall apart when life gets tough. He understands that emotions are fleeting, that they come and go like waves, and he learns to ride them with grace and composure. Solitude also fosters mental clarity and focus. When a man is alone, he has the time and space to reflect deeply on his goals, values, and purpose. Without the distractions of a relationship or the noise of constant interaction, he can hone in on what truly matters to him. This clarity allows him to align his actions with his vision for the future. He becomes disciplined and determined, channeling his energy into personal growth, career ambitions, or creative pursuits. This level of focus is a superpower, one that enables him to achieve things he might never have thought possible. Living alone also teaches a man the value of his own company. He learns to enjoy solitude, to find peace in his own presence. Whether it's reading a book, cooking a meal, or simply sitting in quiet reflection, he begins to appreciate the small, simple moments of life. This ability to find joy within himself is a profound strength, because it means he is no longer dependent on external sources for happiness. He is free from the need for constant companionship, free from the fear of being alone, and free to live life on his own terms. Perhaps the greatest strength that solitude builds is the ability to set boundaries. A man who lives alone understands the importance of protecting his time, energy, and peace. He is not afraid to say no to people or situations that do not align with his values. This boundary setting is a reflection of his self-respect and self-worth, qualities that are often developed in the quiet moments of living alone. He becomes a man who knows what he stands for and refuses to compromise on what truly matters to him. Living alone is not about withdrawing from the world, but about preparing for it. The strength a man builds in solitude is not just for himself, it is for everything and everyone he will encounter in life. It is the foundation upon which he can build meaningful relationships, pursue ambitious goals, and navigate the challenges of life with confidence and resilience. Solitude is not a weakness, it is a crucible, a place where strength is refined and where a man becomes his truest, most powerful self. When a man chooses to live alone, he embarks on a profound journey of self-discovery. Without the constant presence of others and their expectations, he is left to confront himself fully, his strengths, his weaknesses, his desires, and his fears. This solitude provides an unparalleled opportunity to strip away the layers of external influences and uncover the core of who he truly is. In relationships and social settings, a man often plays roles. He might be the dependable partner, the caring friend, or the responsible son. While these roles are important, they can sometimes blur his understanding of his true identity. Living alone removes the need to perform. There is no audience to impress, no expectations to meet, and no one to influence his choices. In this space of freedom, a man can begin to ask the deeper questions. Who am I when no one is looking? What do I truly want in life? What are my passions, values, and dreams? The process of self-discovery in solitude can be both liberating and challenging. At first, the absence of others can feel unsettling. A man may realize how much of his identity was tied to the validation or approval of others. He may find himself questioning decisions he once thought were his own, recognizing how much they were shaped by societal norms or the expectations of family and friends. But as he sits with this discomfort, clarity begins to emerge. He starts to see himself more clearly, not as a reflection of others' opinions, but as an individual with unique thoughts, feelings, and aspirations. One of the most significant aspects of self-discovery is uncovering personal values. When living alone, a man has the time and space to reflect on what truly matters to him. He is no longer influenced by the preferences or priorities of a partner or group. Instead, he can evaluate his own beliefs and principles. This clarity allows him to align his actions with his values, creating a sense of integrity and authenticity that is deeply fulfilling. He becomes a man who knows what he stands for, and this self-awareness becomes a guiding compass in all aspects of his life. Solitude also allows a man to explore his interests and passions without judgment or compromise. In a relationship or social context, he might have felt pressured to conform to shared hobbies or interests, even if they didn't truly resonate with him. But living alone gives him the freedom to try new things, to pursue activities purely because they bring him joy or satisfaction, or whether it's learning a new skill, diving into a creative hobby, or simply taking time to read and reflect. These moments of exploration help him connect with what makes him feel alive and fulfilled. Another powerful aspect of self-discovery in solitude is the ability to confront and understand one's emotions. When living alone, there are fewer distractions to mask feelings of sadness, frustration, or fear. A man is forced to face these emotions head-on, to sit with them and explore their roots. This process can be uncomfortable, but it leads to emotional growth and resilience. He learns that his feelings are not something to be feared or suppressed, but are instead valuable signals that offer insight into his inner world. Over time, this emotional awareness helps him develop a deeper connection with himself and others. Living alone also provides the opportunity to reflect on past experiences and relationships. Without the noise of daily interactions, a man can look back on his life with a clearer perspective. He can identify patterns, understand what has shaped him, and recognize the lessons he has learned. This reflection is not about dwelling on the past, but about gaining the wisdom needed to move forward with purpose and intention. Self-discovery in solitude fosters a sense of independence and self-reliance. A man who lives alone learns that he is capable of taking care of himself, both practically and emotionally. He realizes that he doesn't need others to define his worth or provide his happiness. This independence is empowering because it allows him to approach relationships and life in general from a place of wholeness rather than neediness. Through the process of living alone, a man comes to understand that self-discovery is not a destination, but a lifelong journey. The time spent in solitude is a critical chapter in that journey, one that lays the foundation for a deeper, more authentic connection with himself and the world around him. He learns to appreciate his own company. In doing so, he becomes not only more self-aware, but also more confident, grounded, and prepared to navigate the complexities of life with clarity and purpose. Living in solitude creates a unique environment where focus and ambition can flourish in ways that are often difficult to achieve when surrounded by the constant demands and distractions of others. It's in the quiet of being alone that a man finds the mental clarity and space to channel his energy toward his goals. This environment isn't just about the absence of interruptions. It's about the presence of purpose, where every action can be directed towards something meaningful. Solitude eliminates the distractions that come from navigating relationships and social obligations. While these connections have their place, they often pull a man's attention in multiple directions, dividing his time and energy. Living alone creates a simplified space where priorities can take center stage. Without the need to compromise or consider someone else's preferences, a man can structure his days according to what truly matters to him. His focus becomes sharper because there's no external noise to dilute it. In this space, ambition finds room to grow. The time spent alone allows a man to reflect deeply on his dreams and aspirations. He can map out his goals with precision, considering not only what he wants to achieve, but also the steps required to get there. This clarity is powerful because it transforms vague desires into actionable plans. Solitude becomes a catalyst for progress, enabling him to work toward his vision without unnecessary detours. The absence of external distractions also enhances productivity. Living alone means fewer interruptions and the ability to create an environment tailored to one's needs. Whether it's a quiet workspace, a disciplined daily routine, or simply the freedom to work at one's own pace, solitude provides the ideal conditions for sustained focus. A man learns how to immerse himself fully in his tasks, entering a state of deep work where time seems to disappear and meaningful progress is made. This level of concentration isn't just about getting more done, it's about doing the right things with excellence. Solitude also encourages self-discipline. Without the structure that relationships or social commitments often provide, a man living alone must take full responsibility for his time and actions. This requires him to develop routines and habits that align with his goals. He learns to hold himself accountable, to push through moments of laziness or doubt, and to stay committed even when no one else is watching. Over time, this self-discipline becomes a cornerstone of his success, reinforcing his ability to stay focused and achieve his ambitions. Beyond productivity, solitude fosters creativity and innovation. In the quiet of being alone, a man's mind is free to wander, to explore ideas without judgment or interruption. This mental freedom allows him to think more deeply and creatively about challenges and opportunities. He can experiment, take risks, and pursue unconventional paths without the fear of criticism or the pressure to conform. In this sense, solitude not only sharpens focus, but also expands possibilities, enabling him to approach his goals with fresh perspectives and bold ideas. Another significant aspect of solitude is the ability to avoid unnecessary detours caused by external influences. When living with others or maintaining close relationships, it's easy to get sidetracked by their priorities, opinions, or needs. A man might find himself pursuing goals that aren't truly his own, or making compromises that dilute his ambitions. In solitude, there is no one else to please or accommodate. This allows him to stay true to his path, making decisions based solely on what aligns with his values and objectives. It's a form of freedom that ensures his energy is directed toward what genuinely matters. Solitude also strengthens mental resilience, which is essential for maintaining focus over the long term. Without the constant feedback or validation from others, a man learns to trust his own judgment and believe in his ability to succeed. He develops a sense of inner confidence that keeps him steady, even when faced with setbacks or challenges. This resilience is crucial for staying focused in the face of distractions, temptations, or obstacles that might otherwise derail his progress. Solitude provides the opportunity for reflection and recalibration. When living alone, a man has the time to regularly assess his progress and adjust his approach as needed. He can step back from the daily grind, evaluate what's working and what's not, and make intentional changes to stay on track. This process of reflection ensures that his focus remains aligned with his ultimate goals, preventing him from wasting time or energy on pursuits that don't serve his purpose. Living in solitude is not about isolation, but about creating a space where ambition and focus can thrive. It's a deliberate choice to prioritize one's goals, to eliminate distractions, and to cultivate the discipline needed for success. In this environment, a man discovers the power of his own determination and the depth of his potential. Solitude becomes a crucible for growth, refining his focus and sharpening his ambition into a force that can overcome any obstacle and achieve any dream. Emotional independence is one of the most transformative benefits of living alone. Without relying on others for validation or emotional support, a man begins to cultivate a deep sense of self-sufficiency. This process may be uncomfortable at first, but over time it builds a level of emotional resilience and stability that is truly unshakable. It allows him to navigate the complexities of life with confidence and clarity, unaffected by external opinions or temporary setbacks. When a man is constantly surrounded by others, there's often a tendency to seek validation from them. Whether it's a partner, family, or friends, their approval can become a source of reassurance. While this external support is comforting, it can also create dependence. A man might begin to measure his worth through the lens of others' opinions, tying his sense of self-esteem to their approval. Living alone removes this crutch, forcing him to look inward and find his value within himself. The shift from external validation to internal confidence is a powerful transformation. At first, the absence of others' input can feel unsettling. Doubts may surface, and he might question his decisions or capabilities. But as he spends more time in solitude, he learns to trust his own instincts and judgments. He realizes that his worth isn't determined by others' perceptions, but by his own actions, values, and beliefs. This internal grounding becomes a source of strength, allowing him to stand firm even in the face of criticism or rejection. Living alone also provides the space to process emotions fully and independently. In relationships or social settings, there's often an inclination to share problems or feelings with others, seeking their advice or comfort. While this can be helpful, it sometimes prevents a man from truly sitting with his emotions and understanding them. In solitude, there is no one to turn to for immediate reassurance. Instead, he must confront his feelings head-on, exploring their roots and learning how to navigate them on his own. This process of emotional self-reliance builds resilience. A man learns that he doesn't need others to fix his problems or validate his experiences. He develops the tools to manage stress, cope with challenges, and maintain his composure in difficult situations. Over time, this resilience becomes second nature, allowing him to remain calm and centered regardless of external circumstances. He becomes emotionally unshakable, able to weather life's ups and downs with grace and strength. Another aspect of emotional independence is the freedom to define one's own happiness. In relationships, there's often a shared expectation of what happiness should look like, shaped by mutual goals or compromises. Living alone removes these expectations, giving a man the opportunity to explore what truly brings him joy. He can discover his passions, pursue his interests, and create a life that feels authentic and fulfilling. By sustaining solitude, men learn to replace our inner conflicts with headspace of rationality. This self-directed approach to happiness fosters a sense of contentment that isn't reliant on others, making it more enduring and meaningful. Solitude also encourages self-compassion, an essential component of emotional independence. When living with others, it's easy to fall into patterns of comparison or self-criticism, measuring oneself against their achievements or opinions. In the quiet of living alone, a man has the chance to let go of these comparisons and treat himself with kindness. He learns to appreciate his own efforts and recognize his growth, even in the absence of external praise. This self-compassion strengthens his sense of worth and helps him maintain a positive outlook, even during challenging times. Emotional independence enhances relationships in the long run. A man who is emotionally self-sufficient doesn't enter relationships out of need or insecurity, but out of genuine connection and mutual respect. He doesn't rely on others to complete him or provide his happiness. Instead, he brings his whole self to the relationship, offering support without losing his sense of self. This balance creates healthier, more fulfilling connections because they are built on strength and equality rather than dependency. Living alone also fosters a deep sense of personal responsibility. Without someone else to share the emotional load, a man learns to take full ownership of his feelings and actions. He stops blaming external factors for his mood or circumstances and starts looking within for solutions. This accountability empowers him to make intentional choices that align with his. Emotional independence isn't about isolating oneself from others or avoiding relationships. It's about building a solid foundation within, one that isn't shaken by external forces. It's about knowing that you can rely on yourself to handle whatever comes your way and finding peace in your own company. A man who achieves this level of self-sufficiency becomes a force to be reckoned with, confident, resilient, and unshakable. He carries a quiet strength that radiates outward, allowing him to navigate life with grace and purpose, no matter what challenges arise. Time spent alone is one of the most powerful tools for creating a clear and compelling vision for life. When a man has the space to be with his thoughts, free from the noise and distractions of the outside world, he gains the clarity needed to define his goals and aspirations. In solitude, there is no one else to influence his decisions or pull his attention in competing directions. Instead, he can focus entirely on who he is, what he values, and where he wants to go. The process of creating a vision begins with introspection. In the quiet moments of being alone, a man can reflect deeply on his life. He can ask himself meaningful questions that often go unanswered in the rush of daily responsibilities. What truly matters to him? What does success look like in his eyes? What kind of legacy does he want to leave behind? These questions, though simple, open the door to a deeper understanding of his purpose. The answers are not always immediate, but in the stillness of solitude they begin to take shape. Without the influence of societal expectations or the opinions of others, a man can strip away superficial desires and focus on what resonates with him on a core level. This process of self-discovery is essential for creating an authentic vision. It's easy to get caught up in chasing goals that look good on the surface but lack personal meaning. Time alone helps to filter out these distractions and align a man's aspirations with his true values and passions. The vision he creates becomes deeply personal, rooted in his identity rather than external validation. Solitude also allows for focused planning. Once a man has a sense of what he wants to achieve, he can begin mapping out the steps needed to get there. This requires careful thought and consideration, both of which are best achieved in a distraction-free environment. Living alone provides the mental space to break down big dreams into actionable goals, creating a roadmap that feels both ambitious and achievable. This clarity of purpose becomes a guiding force, helping him make decisions that align with his long-term vision. The absence of external pressures further enhances this process. In a world filled with competing demands from work, relationships, and social obligations, It can be challenging to find the time and energy to focus on personal aspirations. Solitude removes these barriers, giving a man the freedom to prioritize his own goals without guilt or compromise. He can dedicate time to learning new skills, pursuing passions, or building habits that support his vision. This focus accelerates progress, turning dreams into tangible outcomes. In addition to planning and goal setting, solitude fosters creativity and innovation. When a man spends time alone, his mind is free to explore new ideas and perspectives. This creative energy is often stifled in busy, overstimulated environments where distractions abound. But in the quiet of solitude, there's room to think deeply, experiment with possibilities, and imagine a future that goes beyond conventional limits. This visionary thinking is what allows a man to set himself apart and achieve extraordinary results. Another significant benefit of creating a vision in solitude is the ability to stay true to oneself. When surrounded by others, it's easy to be influenced by their opinions or to feel the pressure to conform. A man might find himself pursuing goals that aren't truly his own, simply because they align with someone else's expectations. In solitude, these influences fade away, allowing him to focus entirely on what matters to him. The vision he creates becomes a reflection of his authentic self, not a product of external pressures. Living alone also provides the opportunity for ongoing refinement of this vision. Life is dynamic, and goals often evolve over time. Solitude allows a man to regularly reassess his progress and adjust his aspirations needed. This process of reflection ensures that his vision remains relevant and aligned with his growth. It also reinforces his commitment as he sees how far he's come and how much closer he is to achieving his dreams. Creating a vision in solitude builds confidence and motivation. When a man takes the time to define his goals and plan his path forward, he gains a sense of purpose that drives him forward. He knows what he's working toward and why it matters, which makes the journey more fulfilling. This clarity also provides a sense of control, as he realizes that he has the power to shape his future. He becomes less reactive to external circumstances and more proactive in pursuing his dreams. Solitude is a gift that allows a man to connect with his deepest aspirations and chart a course toward a life that is uniquely his own. It's in these quiet moments that he discovers what truly matters, aligns his actions with his values, and builds a vision that inspires him to grow and achieve. By embracing time alone, he gains the clarity, focus, and determination needed to turn his dreams into reality. If you want more, redefining fulfillment is about challenging the conventional notion that a relationship is the sole pathway to a meaningful and satisfying life. A man who lives without a girlfriend is not living an empty life. Rather, he is presented with an extraordinary opportunity to fill his world with purpose, freedom, and self-mastery. This choice to focus inward instead of outward allows him to create a life of depth and richness that is entirely his own. Society often equates fulfillment with being part of a romantic relationship. There is a cultural narrative that suggests happiness comes only from companionship and that being single is a temporary state to be fixed. But the reality is quite different. A man who chooses to live without a girlfriend doesn't lack fulfillment, he redefines it on his terms. Fulfillment in this sense is no longer dependent on external validation or a relationship status. Instead, it comes from a deeper, more personal connection with himself, his aspirations, and the life he's building. Purpose becomes a cornerstone of this redefined fulfillment. Without the distractions or compromises that often come with relationships, a man has the freedom to fully dedicate himself to his passions and goals. He can dive deeply into his career, creative pursuits, or personal development without feeling the need to divide his attention. This undivided focus allows him to achieve a level of mastery and accomplishment that might otherwise be difficult to attain. Every milestone reached and every goal accomplished adds to his sense of fulfillment, proving that purpose is one of the most powerful sources of satisfaction. Freedom is another essential element of this redefinition. Living without a girlfriend provides a man with unparalleled autonomy. He has the liberty to make decisions that align solely with his values and desires, unencumbered by the expectations or compromises that come with a partnership. This freedom extends to every aspect of life, from how he spends his time to the paths he chooses to explore. He can travel, take risks, or pursue unconventional opportunities without needing to consider how these choices might affect a partner. This level of independence fosters a profound sense of empowerment as he realizes that he is the sole architect of his life. Self-mastery is perhaps the most transformative aspect of this journey. Without a relationship to distract or define him, a man has the time and space to truly know himself. He can explore his strengths, address his weaknesses, and develop the skills and habits that lead to personal growth. This process of self-discovery and self-improvement creates a foundation of confidence and resilience. He learns to rely on himself, trust his instincts, and navigate life with clarity and purpose. This internal strength becomes a source of fulfillment that no external relationship could provide. Redefining fulfillment also means embracing the richness of life's many dimensions. While relationships can be meaningful, they are not the only source of connection or joy. A man living without a girlfriend can cultivate deep and rewarding relationships with friends, family, and mentors. He can engage in his community, contribute to causes he cares about, or build a network of like-minded individuals who inspire and support him. These connections add depth and meaning to his life, proving that fulfillment doesn't require a romantic partner. Living without a girlfriend allows a man to fully experience the beauty of solitude. Solitude is often misunderstood as loneliness, but it is in fact one of life's greatest gifts. It provides the space for reflection, creativity, and renewal. In solitude, a man can listen to his inner voice, process his thoughts, and find clarity amidst the noise of the world. This quiet time becomes a sanctuary, a place where he can recharge and connect with his deeper self. It's in these moments of solitude that he discovers a fulfillment that is profound and enduring. This redefinition of fulfillment also involves rejecting societal pressures and expectations. There is immense freedom in realizing that one doesn't need to follow the traditional path of relationships to find happiness. A man who lives without a girlfriend takes ownership of his life, refusing to let cultural norms dictate his choices. This sense of self-determination is liberating, allowing him to create a life that is uniquely his own. By breaking free from these expectations, he sets a powerful example of what it means to live authentically and on one's own terms. A man who chooses to live without a girlfriend is not settling for less. He is striving for more. He is seeking a deeper kind of fulfillment, one that is rooted in purpose, freedom, and self-mastery. He is building a life that reflects his values, passions, and aspirations, proving that true fulfillment comes from within. It's a life that is not only rich and rewarding, but also deeply empowering. By redefining what it means to be fulfilled, he shows that living without a girlfriend is not a limitation, but an opportunity to thrive in ways that many overlook. In the journey of solitude, a man discovers the untapped power within himself. It is not a life of emptiness or longing, but one of profound self-realization, purpose, and freedom. Through living alone, he cultivates inner strength, learns the art of focus, and masters the resilience that comes with emotional independence. He finds clarity in his vision, redefines fulfillment on his terms, and creates a life rooted in authenticity and personal growth. This path is not one of isolation, but of empowerment, a chance to forge an unshakable foundation that no external circumstance can disrupt. By embracing solitude, he becomes the architect of his destiny, free to explore, create, and achieve without limits. It's a life that proves the true source of fulfillment comes not from the world outside, but from within. Thank you for listening, and may you find the courage to embrace your own journey of self-discovery and empowerment. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you told someone about your big plans? How did they respond? Did they cheer you on, or did their doubts creep into your mind like a shadow dimming your light? You see, there's a lesson in that moment. Life isn't a press conference, and your dreams aren't meant to be broadcasted for public approval. Here's the truth. Silence is power. The world has a strange way of draining energy from the things you hold dear. The moment you start announcing what you're building, the distractions come. Opinions flood in. And let's be real, not every voice in your circle wants to see you win. Protect your vision. It's like a flame. It starts small and vulnerable. Share it with the wrong people, and they'll snuff it out before it has the chance to grow. Keep it hidden, nurtured, and guarded. And when it becomes a roaring fire, they won't be able to ignore it. Your energy speaks louder than words ever will. You don't need to convince anyone of your progress. They'll see it. The world doesn't care about promises. It respects results. So let your actions do the talking. Now, let's talk about the truth no one likes to admit. Not everyone is in your corner. Some people wear masks of support, but behind closed doors, they're doubting you, even envying you. You don't need that negativity invading your mind. Your journey is yours. Don't give anyone else the blueprint to what God placed in your heart. Here's the beauty of moving in silence. The element of surprise is underrated. While they're busy guessing, you're busy building. While they're doubting, you're achieving. And when the time comes, your results will speak so loudly, the doubters won't have anything left to say. But there's one more thing you need to know. You control your narrative. The moment you overshare, you give others the power to rewrite your story. Stop giving the world front row seats to a show that's still in rehearsal. So, I'll leave you with this. Walk boldly, but walk quietly. Work relentlessly, but speak sparingly. Let them wonder what's going on in your life while you rise above their expectations. Because one day, they'll ask how you did it. And you'll smile, knowing that your silence was your greatest strength. There's a strength that lies in silence, a strength most people overlook because we live in a world that craves attention and validation. People want to announce every step they take, every idea they have, and every milestone they reach. But when you constantly put your plans and progress on display, you weaken the foundation of what you're building. Not every seed you plant needs to be shown to the world. Some things grow best in the dark, away from prying eyes and unsolicited opinions. When you keep your plans private, you create an environment where they can grow without interference. Think about it. When a seed is planted, it's buried deep in the soil, hidden from sight. It doesn't grow because people are watching. It grows because the conditions are right. The soil protects it, the water nourishes it, and the sun provides energy. If you dig it up too soon, just to show the world it's sprouting, you risk killing it before it has the chance to flourish. Your dreams and goals work the same way. The moment you share your plans with others, you invite their energy into your space. Some of that energy may be supportive, but much of it will not be. There will be doubts, criticisms, and even envy disguised as advice. People will project their fears and limitations onto you, and if you're not careful, you'll start to question yourself. Their voices will echo in your mind, making you second-guess what you were once so certain about. That's the power of influence, and it's one of the main reasons you need to protect your vision. It's not just about other people's opinions, though. There's a psychological shift that happens when you talk about your plans before they're complete. Speaking about your goals can create a false sense of accomplishment. You feel good talking about it, and that good feeling can trick your mind into believing you've already done the work. But words are not actions, and ideas are not results. The more you talk, the less energy you have to execute. Silence helps you maintain focus. It keeps your energy directed toward action rather than validation. There's also a strategic advantage in silence. When people don't know what you're working on, they can't interfere. They can't copy your ideas, steal your momentum, or create obstacles for you. Moving in silence allows you to make progress without distractions or resistance. You're not giving anyone the opportunity to hold you back because they don't know what you're doing. It's like playing a game of chess. Your opponent can't counter your moves if they don't know your strategy. Silence gives you the freedom to change course without judgment. When you announce your plans, you feel an unspoken pressure to follow through exactly as you've described. That pressure can be paralyzing, especially if you realize along the way that you need to adjust your approach. But when you keep your plans private, you can pivot as needed without worrying about what anyone else thinks. You're free to explore, experiment, and evolve without the weight of external expectations. The truth is, not everyone is meant to understand your journey. Some people will never see your vision the way you do, and that's okay. It's not their responsibility to believe in you. It's yours. When you keep your plans to yourself, you give yourself the space to believe in your dreams without interference. You give yourself the time to build confidence and clarity before sharing your vision with the world. When the time is right, the results will speak for themselves. People will see the fruits of your labor, and they'll wonder how you did it. They'll admire your success without realizing the quiet work it took to get there. And that's the beauty of silence. It allows you to focus on the process, so the outcome can be even greater than you imagined. So, learn the art of keeping your plans and progress private. Treat your dreams like a treasure, not something to be displayed for everyone to see. Nurture them in the quiet, knowing that what you're building is worth protecting. Not every seed needs to be shown to the world, but when it's ready, it will bloom in a way that's impossible to ignore. And when that moment comes, your silence will have been your greatest ally. There is a delicate beauty to your dreams, a fragile strength in the early stages of a vision. It begins as a spark, something born in the quiet corners of your mind, a whisper of what could be. It's personal, powerful, and full of potential, but also vulnerable. When you share your goals too soon, you expose that fragile vision to forces it may not yet be ready to withstand. Opinions, doubts, and judgments can seep in, slowly chipping away at the confidence you had in your dream. Not everyone will see what you see. Your vision is unique to you. It's shaped by your experiences, your desires, and your purpose. When you reveal it to others before it's fully formed, you invite their perspectives into something deeply personal. Some may encourage you, but many will criticize. Not because they mean harm, but because they can only see the world through their own limited lens. Their doubts may not be about you, but about their own inability to imagine what you're striving for. Even so, those doubts have a way of taking root in your mind if you're not careful. Think of your vision as a plant just beginning to grow. In its early stages, it's delicate, needing the right environment to thrive. If you expose it to the harsh elements too soon, it can wither before it has the chance to bloom. Your goals require the same kind of care and protection. They need time to develop, to gain strength, and to grow into something that can withstand external forces. Sharing your goals prematurely is like placing that tender plant in a storm. It's not ready for that level of exposure. Beyond the opinions of others, there's another risk to revealing your plans too early. You can lose focus. The act of talking about your goals can create a false sense of accomplishment, as if sharing them is a step toward achieving them. But words are not the same as actions, and validation from others can distract you from the work that needs to be done. When you tell people what you're aiming for, you might feel the need to explain yourself, to justify your choices, or to seek approval. All of that takes energy that could be better spent working quietly on your dream. There's a psychological freedom in keeping your vision private. When it's just you and your goal, there's no pressure to prove anything to anyone. You can move at your own pace, take risks, and make adjustments without fear of judgment. You're not bound by anyone's expectations or timelines. This freedom allows you to stay focused, to listen to your intuition, and to let your vision evolve naturally. Another important reason to protect your vision is that not everyone you share it with will have your best interests at heart. It's a hard truth, but there are people who won't celebrate your success. Some will envy it, others will undermine it, and a few may even try to sabotage it. They might not do so openly, but their subtle doubts, dismissive comments, or lack of support can be just as damaging. By keeping your goals to yourself, you shield your vision from negative energy that could derail your progress. It's not about being secretive, it's about being wise. Timing matters. There's a season for everything, including sharing your vision. When the foundation is solid, when the progress is undeniable, and when your confidence is unshakable, that's when you can let others in. By then, your vision will have grown strong enough to stand on its own. The opinions of others, whether positive or negative, won't have the power to affect it, because you've already built something real. When you protect your vision, you're not just safeguarding your dream, you're also protecting your peace of mind. You're giving yourself the space to focus on what truly matters: the work, the growth, and the journey. It's about honoring the sacredness of your goals and respecting the process it takes to achieve them. Your dreams don't need to be validated by others to be worthy. They only need your belief and your effort. Keep them close, nurture them quietly, and let them shine when they're ready. When that moment comes, the world will see what you've built, and the strength of your vision will speak louder than any words ever could. There's a quiet truth about energy. It cannot be faked, and it cannot be hidden. The world may be filled with noise, with endless chatter and proclamations, but energy cuts through it all like a clear note in a chaotic symphony. It doesn't need to shout, and it doesn't beg for attention. It simply speaks, loud and undeniable, because actions and the energy behind them have a resonance that words alone can never achieve. Talk is cheap, and promises are easy to make. Words can inspire, yes, but they can also deceive. A person can say all the right things, make all the bold claims, and yet have nothing real to show for it. The true measure of character, determination, and intent isn't found in what someone says, it's in what they do. It's in the energy they carry, the way they move through the world, and the trail of results they leave behind. When you focus your energy on action, you send out a message that's far more powerful than any words you could ever speak. It's not about telling people what you're going to do, it's about showing them through your consistency, your commitment, and the results that follow. Actions don't need explanations. They speak for themselves. They carry weight, credibility, and undeniable truth. Energy doesn't lie. When you pour your focus, effort, and passion into your goals, people can feel it. There's a magnetic quality to someone who's deeply aligned with their purpose. They don't have to announce their intentions because their energy does it for them. It's in the way they show up every day, the quiet confidence they exude, and the unwavering belief in what they're doing. That kind of energy is infectious. It draws people in without needing to be loud. But this kind of energy doesn't come from empty ambition or trying to prove a point. It comes from authenticity and purpose. When your actions align with your true intentions, your energy becomes a force of nature. It's not about impressing others or seeking validation. It's about fulfilling something within yourself. And when you operate from that place, people can't help but notice, even if you never say a word. There's also a humility in letting your actions speak for you. Words often come with a need for acknowledgement, but actions are self-sufficient. They don't demand applause or recognition. They simply exist as proof of your effort. When you focus on doing rather than talking, you shift your energy from seeking validation to creating results. That shift is powerful because it frees you from the noise of external opinions and allows you to fully commit to your journey. At the same time, your actions build credibility. People trust what they see far more than what they hear. When you consistently show up, deliver on your promises, and let your results do the talking, you establish a reputation that no amount of words could create. Your energy becomes your signature, an unspoken message that says, "This is who I am, and this is what I stand for." There's also a patience to this process that many overlook. The world may expect instant results and constant updates, but true success is built in silence, through steady effort and resilience. It's not about rushing to prove yourself. It's about staying committed to the work, even when no one is watching. Because the truth is, the most impactful energy is cultivated in the quiet moments, the early mornings, the late nights, the times when it's just you and your vision. And when the results finally come, they will speak louder than any announcement ever could. There's nothing more powerful than undeniable proof that you put in the work, overcame the obstacles, and made something real. People will see the energy behind your success, and they'll feel its authenticity. They won't need you to explain it because it will be written in every step you've taken and every result you've achieved. So, let your success make the noise. Focus your energy on the work, not the words. Trust that the power of your actions will speak for you, louder and clearer than anything else ever could. And when the world finally takes notice, they won't just hear your story, they'll feel the energy of everything you've built. And that is a message no one can ignore. There is a harsh but necessary truth we all must come to terms with. Not everyone you share your journey with will celebrate it. The world is filled with people who carry their own insecurities, doubts, and fears. And sometimes, those emotions spill over into how they perceive your ambitions. When you openly share your dreams and progress, you make yourself vulnerable to the intentions of others, both good and bad. While some may genuinely root for you, others might doubt your ability or even work against you, whether consciously or unconsciously. It's not always malice that causes people to doubt or undermine your efforts. Many times, it's their own limitations that color their view of your potential. If they've never dared to dream big or faced their own fears of failure, they may find it difficult to believe that you can achieve what they never thought possible for themselves. Instead of encouraging you, they project their fears onto your path, unintentionally planting seeds of doubt. They might say things like, "Are you sure that's realistic?" Or, "Maybe you should have a backup plan." While these comments might seem harmless on the surface, they can chip away at your confidence over time. Then there are those who operate from a place of envy. When you start to rise, your progress can act as a mirror, reflecting back to others the areas of their lives where they feel stagnant. Instead of using your success as inspiration, they may feel threatened by it. This envy can manifest in subtle ways: dismissive remarks, passive-aggressive comments, or even attempts to downplay your achievements. In some cases, it may escalate into outright sabotage, where their actions are designed to hold you back or discredit you. Recognizing these dynamics is crucial for protecting your energy and staying focused on your goals. This doesn't mean you should close yourself off entirely or become mistrustful of everyone around you. It means being discerning about whom you allow into your inner circle and what you choose to share. Your dreams are precious, and not everyone deserves a front-row seat to your journey. Reserve that space for the people who have proven their loyalty, support, and genuine belief in your potential. Another important aspect to consider is how sharing your goals too widely can drain your energy. Every time you discuss your plans with someone, you open yourself up to their opinions, whether positive or negative. While positive feedback can be encouraging, it can also create a sense of premature accomplishment that tricks your brain into feeling like you've already achieved something. On the other hand, negative feedback can dampen your enthusiasm and cause unnecessary self-doubt. By keeping your goals close to your chest, you maintain control over your narrative and preserve the energy needed to bring your vision to life. It's also worth noting that not everyone who doubts you is doing so out of malice. Sometimes people genuinely believe they are protecting you from disappointment. They may see your ambition as risky or unrealistic, and their discouragement is a reflection of their own cautious mindset. While their intentions may be well-meaning, their perspective isn't necessarily aligned with your purpose. Remember, you are the one who has been given this vision, not them. You don't need their approval to pursue what sets your soul on fire. Protecting your goals doesn't mean living in secrecy, but it does mean exercising wisdom. Share your progress with those who have earned your trust and have shown they genuinely care about your growth. These are the people who will celebrate your wins, offer constructive feedback, and stand by you during setbacks. Their support will amplify your energy rather than deplete it, helping you stay focused and motivated. It's important to trust yourself and your journey. You don't need the world's validation to pursue your dreams. By being mindful of whom you share with and maintaining a clear focus on your path, you can guard against the distractions and negativity that may come your way. Not everyone has your best interests at heart, but that's okay. The people who matter will show themselves through their actions, and their support will be more than enough to sustain you. Stay vigilant, stay focused, and above all, stay true to yourself. Your journey is yours to walk, and your success is yours to claim. Let your actions, your energy, and your results speak for themselves. The right people will see your light, and the rest will fade into the background where they belong. There's an unspoken power in keeping your progress quiet, in working diligently behind the scenes while the world remains unaware of what you're building. In a world that constantly demands updates, announcements, and glimpses into every step of the process, mastering the art of surprise is a skill that sets you apart. The element of surprise is underrated, yet it holds the kind of impact that words and intentions alone can never achieve. When results speak louder than promises, the effect is undeniable and unforgettable. Surprise carries with it an energy that commands attention. When you quietly invest your time, energy, and focus into your goals without fanfare, you're not just conserving energy, you're cultivating a reservoir of potential that others don't see coming. And when that potential finally manifests, the impact is amplified because it defies expectation. People don't anticipate greatness when they're unaware of the effort happening behind the scenes, and that lack of expectation gives you an edge. Announcing your plans too early can dilute their power. When you share your intentions prematurely, you invite commentary, opinions, and expectations that can distract or derail you. People may question your approach, challenge your vision, or attempt to impose their own limitations on what they believe you can achieve. Even well-meaning advice can sow seeds of doubt, leading you to second-guess yourself or feel the need to explain and justify your actions. By keeping your progress private, you shield yourself from this noise and remain focused on what truly matters, bringing your vision to life. There's also a psychological phenomenon that comes at play when you share your goals too openly. Speaking about your plans can create a false sense of accomplishment, tricking your brain into feeling as though progress has already been made. This can sap the motivation needed to actually do the work, leaving you stuck in a cycle of intentions without follow-through. When you choose to remain silent, you're channeling all your energy into action rather than presentation. Every step you take is purposeful, and every effort is directed toward real, tangible outcomes. The beauty of quiet progress is that it allows you to experiment, fail, and grow away from the spotlight. Success is rarely a straight path. It's filled with trial and error, adjustments, and moments of doubt. When you work in silence, you give yourself the freedom to make mistakes without the added pressure of public scrutiny. This space to learn and refine your approach is invaluable, allowing you to emerge stronger, wiser, and more prepared when the time comes to reveal your results. And when that moment does come, the impact of your success is magnified. There's a certain respect that comes from delivering results without fanfare. It shows discipline, focus, and a deep commitment to the process. People may not have seen the hours of effort, the sacrifices, or the challenges you faced, but the outcome speaks volumes. It's a testament to your resilience and determination, and it leaves a lasting impression that mere promises never could. Surprising the world with results rather than announcements also sets you apart in an era of constant noise. In a world where everyone seems eager to broadcast their every move, your silence becomes a statement in itself. It signals confidence, self-assurance, and a refusal to seek validation or approval. You're not working for applause or recognition. You're working for the fulfillment of your vision. And that clarity of purpose is rare and powerful. This approach isn't about secrecy for its own sake. It's about strategy. It's about understanding the value of timing and the power of an unanticipated breakthrough. When you reveal your success on your terms, at a time and in a way that aligns with your goals, you take control of the narrative. You're not reacting to external pressures or expectations. You're leading with purpose and intention.
Your life is your story, and you are the author. Every decision you make, every step you take, and every goal you set is a brushstroke in the masterpiece that is uniquely yours. But here's the truth. When you overshare, you lose control of that narrative. By revealing too much too soon, you hand over the pen to others, allowing their opinions, judgments, and interpretations to shape your story. To protect your vision and retain ownership of your journey, you must learn the art of discretion. Keeping your life's masterpiece under wraps until it is ready to be revealed is not secrecy. It's when you openly share your plans, dreams, or even your challenges, you invite the perspectives of others into a space that should belong solely to you. Some of these perspectives may be well-meaning, but others may not. Regardless of the intent, the more voices you allow into your narrative, the harder it becomes to hear your own. Doubts that didn't exist before may start creeping in, not because you're unsure of your path, but because someone else planted a seed of uncertainty. Suddenly, you find yourself questioning your decisions, altering your course, or even delaying progress, all because you let external noise interfere with your inner clarity. Oversharing also opens the door to judgment, whether explicit or subtle. People may form opinions about your choices, your progress, or even your worthiness to pursue your goals. Some may think your dreams are too big, while others may belittle your struggles, assuming they know better than you. These judgments, even when unspoken, can create an invisible weight, pressing down on your confidence and clouding your focus. By keeping your plans private, you shield yourself from these unnecessary distractions and maintain the mental space needed to nurture your ambitions. Furthermore, when you reveal too much, you risk creating false expectations, not just for others, but for yourself. Sharing your goals can sometimes give you a premature sense of accomplishment, as if speaking them aloud is equivalent to achieving them. This can lead to complacency, where the energy that should be fueling your efforts, when you keep your plans to yourself, you eliminate the temptation to seek validation through words, allowing your actions to take center stage. Keeping your story private doesn't mean shutting people out or living in isolation. It means being intentional about what you share and with whom. Not every detail of your journey needs an audience, and not every part of your life needs to be explained. There is a quiet strength in holding your cards close, in letting your results speak for themselves. When you wait until your masterpiece is ready before unveiling it, you present it as a finished work, not a rough draft subject to critique. This approach also protects your creative freedom. When your plans are private, you are free to experiment, pivot, and evolve without feeling the need to justify your choices to anyone. You can take risks, make mistakes, and learn, without the pressure of public scrutiny. This freedom is invaluable, as it allows you to stay true to your vision and adapt as necessary without being boxed in by external expectations. And you expect him to do the same thing. And then why are you fighting the fight? One of the most profound benefits of controlling your narrative is the sense of empowerment it brings. By choosing what to share and what to keep private, you reclaim agency over your life. You're no longer reacting to the opinions or expectations of others. You're proactively shaping your path according to your values, goals, and intuition. This control is not about being secretive. It's about honoring the secretive of your journey and protecting the energy needed to see it through. When the time comes to share your story, the impact will be far greater than if you had narrated every step along the way. People will see the results of your hard work, the lessons you've learned, and the growth you've achieved, all in a cohesive and inspiring way. They won't be distracted by the noise of half-finished plans or incomplete thoughts. Instead, they'll witness the fullness of what you've created, and the depth of your journey will resonate more powerfully because it was unveiled at the right moment. Your life is your masterpiece, and every stroke of the brush is yours to make. By keeping your vision private until it's ready, you maintain control of your narrative and protect the integrity of your story. Let the world see the final painting, not the sketches, not the outlines, but the finished work that reflects the depth of your effort and the truth of your journey. And when you do reveal it, let it be on your terms, with your voice leading the way. This is your story, and no one else has the right to tell it for you. In life, the power of silence and discretion cannot be overstated. Your journey, your progress, and your dreams are sacred. They are the masterpiece you are creating day by day. By learning to keep your plans private, protecting your vision, and letting your actions speak louder than your words, you reclaim control of your narrative and guard your energy from unnecessary distractions. Not everyone will have your best interests at heart, and not everyone needs to be privy to your process. The element of surprise, the strength of quiet persistence, and the beauty of unveiling your success on your terms will always outweigh premature announcements. Your life is your story to tell, and your results will speak louder than any words ever could. Trust your process, stay focused, and keep building in silence until it's time to share the masterpiece you've created. Thank you for taking the time to reflect on these ideas today. May they inspire you to move forward with strength, clarity, and purpose.
Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a moment when silence speaks louder than words. It's a time to pause, reflect, and remember that your worth is not tied to anyone else's approval. That moment is when you've chosen no contact, not to punish, not to manipulate, but to grow. When the time comes to reconnect, remember this: you're not coming back as the same person. No, you've been refined by the fire of solitude. The silence you endured wasn't emptiness, it was power. Power to redefine who you are and what you deserve. When you pass that test, you'll do so not by trying harder to be what someone else wants, but by fully owning who you are. Stand tall, speak clearly, look him in the eyes, not to seek answers, but to offer a reflection of your newfound strength. And let me tell you something. Confidence is not about shouting your worth, it's about carrying it quietly. When you re-enter the conversation, do so with grace. Observe him. Watch his actions. Words will only take you so far. What does he do? Does he show up? Does he rise to meet your energy? You see, this isn't just his test, it's yours. It's about holding firm to the boundaries you've set, the lessons you've learned, and the peace you've built. Don't lower your standards just because someone knocks on the door again. Keep that gate strong and let only the worthy enter. Because at the end of the day, you don't need anyone to validate you. You are the prize, the light, the strength that stood through the silence. So, pass that test with grace, confidence, and a heart that knows its value. And if he proves himself, if he rises to meet your standards, then and only then will you decide if he gets the honor of walking alongside you. Recognizing your value is the most important step before reconnecting with someone after a period of no contact. This isn't about proving your worth to anyone else. It's about embracing the fact that you are inherently valuable, just as you are. Too often people enter situations seeking validation, hoping someone else will affirm their importance or fill a void within them. But here's the truth. No one can give you what you don't first give yourself. Finding the steps to feel important again is about reconnecting to yourself so you defend a full life, to get things back on track. If you walk into a situation needing to be validated, you hand over your power. That's not love, that's dependence. Before you even think about reconnecting, take the time to reflect on what makes you unique. Your strengths, your growth, the battles you've fought silently, and the person you've become in the process. These are the foundations of your self-worth. Every time you've been knocked down and found a way to rise, you've proven your resilience. Every time you've stood firm in your values, even when it was difficult, you've reinforced your character. These are the things that define your worth, not whether someone chooses to recognize them. When the time comes to reconnect, it's not about walking in with a chip on your shoulder or an attitude of superiority. No, it's about quietly knowing who you are and what you bring to the table. You don't need to shout your worth to anyone, because it radiates naturally when you've done the inner work. Your presence will speak for itself. When you value yourself, you stop chasing. You stop begging for love, attention, or approval, because you already possess the most important kind of validation: self-approval. Understand this: the conversation you're about to have isn't about seeking something from him. You're not there to fix, convince, or prove anything. You're there to show up as your best self and let that be enough. And if he doesn't see the light you bring, that's his loss, not yours. Because when you know your worth, you don't settle for crumbs. You don't bend over backward to fit someone else's idea of what you should be. You stand firm in who you are, and the right people will naturally gravitate toward you. Self-worth also means being honest with yourself about what you deserve. If reconnecting with this person makes you feel like you have to compromise your boundaries, shrink yourself, or diminish your light, then you must ask yourself if it's truly worth it. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is walk away with your head held high, knowing that staying true to yourself is more important than holding on to someone who doesn't appreciate you. Living lies, banishing legacies, recruiting enemies, and holding on to someone who doesn't appreciate you. But if he shows up with respect, with consistency, and with the intention of adding to your life, then you can decide on your terms whether the relationship is worth rebuilding. The choice is always yours. And that's the beauty of self-worth. It gives you the power to choose rather than settling for what's handed to you. So as you prepare to reconnect, remind yourself of this: you're not coming into the conversation to fill a void or to fix anything. You're stepping into it as someone who already knows their worth, someone who brings light, strength, and value wherever they go. You're not seeking validation, you're carrying it with you. And that makes all the difference. Silence is one of the most underestimated yet powerful tools we possess. In a world that thrives on noise and constant communication, choosing to remain silent can feel counterintuitive. But when you embrace silence, especially in the context of no contact, you begin to understand its true purpose. No contact is not about punishing anyone or creating a sense of longing. It's about resetting the dynamic, recalibrating emotions, and allowing clarity to emerge from the chaos. So, silence creates space, space to think, to heal, and to reconnect with yourself. When emotions run high, conversations often become reactive rather than thoughtful. In those moments, words can wound, misunderstandings can deepen, and clarity becomes elusive. Silence breaks that cycle. By stepping back and allowing time to pass, you create an environment where emotions can settle. What seemed overwhelming in the heat of the moment begins to fade, and the raw edges of pain start to smooth. This isn't avoidance, it's intentional healing. In silence, you find the gift of introspection. You begin to hear your own thoughts without the interference of outside voices. You can assess what you truly want, what you truly feel, and what you truly need. Often, when you're caught in the noise of a relationship, whether it's conflict, communication, or even just routine, you lose sight of your own inner voice. Silence brings that voice back. It reminds you of who you are and allows you to reevaluate your boundaries, desires, and values. No contact, when used wisely, also reveals truths about others. Silence tests relationships in a way that words cannot. If someone values you, they will respect the space you've chosen and use that time for their own reflection. They won't see your silence as a challenge to overcome or a game to play. Instead, they'll see it as an opportunity to grow, to understand, and to approach you with clarity when the time is right. On the other hand, if someone reacts to silence with anger, manipulation, or indifference, it speaks volumes about their intentions and capacity for emotional depth. There's also a strategic element to silence. It shifts the energy of a relationship. When you step back and stop trying to control the narrative or outcome, you regain your power. You're no longer reacting to every message or attempting to explain yourself endlessly. Instead, you're allowing the other person to sit with their own thoughts and emotions. This shift often forces them to reflect on their behavior, their role in the dynamic, and what they may lose if they don't change. But perhaps the most profound aspect of silence is the way it allows clarity to rise. When the noise fades, the truth has a way of making itself known. You begin to see situations for what they truly are, not through the lens of heightened emotion or wishful thinking. Silence reveals intentions, yours and theirs. It helps you discern whether reconnecting is the right choice or whether it's time to move forward without looking back. Choosing silence isn't easy. It takes strength to resist the urge to explain, defend, or seek immediate resolution. It requires patience and trust in the process, but the rewards are worth it. Silence doesn't mean you're giving up. It means you're choosing yourself first. It means you're prioritizing clarity over confusion, peace over chaos, and healing over haste. So when you choose no contact, remember that it's not about punishment. It's a gift you give yourself, a chance to reset, to heal, and to see things for what they truly are. Silence is not the absence of power, it is the presence of wisdom. Use it wisely, and it will lead you to clarity, strength, and ultimately, the peace you deserve. Confidence is more than words. It's a presence, a language that speaks without sound. When the time comes to reconnect after a period of silence or no contact, confidence becomes your most powerful tool. It's not about what you say, it's about how you carry yourself, the energy you bring, and the silent assurance that you know your worth. Confidence isn't arrogance, it's the quiet belief in yourself that no one can take away. Reconnecting after no contact requires you to show up as the best version of yourself. This doesn't mean pretending to be someone you're not or trying to impress the other person. It means standing in your truth, grounded in the knowledge of who you are and what you've been through. Every step you've taken during the silence, every lesson you've learned, and every piece of healing you've done will be reflected in how you present yourself. You don't need to explain it. Your actions, demeanor, and energy will make it clear. Speaking with certainty is key. Confidence is not about having all the answers. or never feeling doubt. It's about trusting yourself enough to express what's on your mind without fear of rejection or judgment. When you speak, let your words come from a place of authenticity. Say what you mean and mean what you say. There's no need for over-explaining, apologizing unnecessarily, or seeking approval. Your words should be concise, deliberate, and reflective of the self-assured person you've become. But confidence isn't just in what you say, it's in how you move. Stand tall, shoulders back, and walk with purpose. Body language often speaks louder than words. When you hold yourself with dignity, people take notice. Confidence in your posture and movements conveys that you are comfortable in your own skin, that you are secure in your identity. This nonverbal communication sends a message that you've grown, that you're unshaken, and that you're not here to seek validation, but to engage as an equal. Let your actions be the ultimate proof of your transformation. People can say all the right things, but actions reveal the truth. When reconnecting, allow your behavior to reflect the work you've done on yourself. If you've learned to set boundaries, uphold them with grace. If you've cultivated patience, let it show in how you listen. If you've developed self-respect, let it be evident in the way you respond to situations. Actions rooted in confidence leave no room for doubt. They show, without needing explanation, that you've grown. Confidence also means being unshaken by outcomes. Whether the reconnection goes as planned or not, your sense of self remains intact. True confidence isn't tied to external validation, it comes from within. It's about knowing that whatever happens, you'll be okay because you've built a foundation of self-worth that isn't dependent on anyone else. You're not there to prove anything to the other person. You're there to show up as your authentic self, fully aware of your value. Confidence is the language of self-belief. It's not loud or boastful, it's steady and unwavering. When you reconnect, let that confidence guide you. Speak with certainty, stand tall, and let your actions reflect your growth. The other person will see it, feel it, and understand it without you needing to say a word. And if they don't, it won't matter, because you've already proven it to the most important person, yourself. When reestablishing communication after a period of no contact, it's crucial to shift your focus from chasing to observing. This is not about pursuing the other person or trying to force an outcome. It's about paying attention to how they show up in your life. Are they consistent? Are they respectful? Are they someone who truly values your time and presence? These are the questions you need to answer, not through their words alone, but through their actions. All of the situations you encounter and the price that you have to pay, chasing often stems from a fear of loss, a sense of urgency to fix things or secure someone's attention. But when you chase, you give away your power. You place the other person on a pedestal, making them the center of your focus while neglecting your own worth. This dynamic is neither healthy nor sustainable. Instead, take a step back and observe. Watch how they respond to your presence without you constantly reaching out or pushing the connection forward. Let their actions reveal their intentions. Observing doesn't mean being passive or disengaged. It means being present and mindful. It means noticing the small details, how they communicate, how they handle your boundaries, and whether their words align with their actions. Consistency is a key indicator of someone's character. Anyone can make promises in the moment, but true commitment is shown through repeated, reliable behavior. Are they making an effort to follow through? Are they showing up in ways that match what they say? If their actions don't align with their words, take note. This is not someone who is ready or able to meet you where you are. Respect is another cornerstone of any healthy relationship. Pay attention to how they treat you during this phase of reestablishing communication. Do they listen when you speak? Do they show an interest in your thoughts, feelings, and experiences? Respect isn't just about avoiding obvious signs of disrespect. It's about feeling valued and appreciated for who you are. If they dismiss your feelings, ignore your boundaries, or fail to acknowledge your efforts, that's a clear sign that they may not be worthy of your time. Observing also requires patience, and patience is a form of strength. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of reconnecting and rush to rekindle the connection, but true clarity takes time. Allow the process to unfold naturally. Give them space to show you who they are without feeling the need to control or influence their behavior. When you step back and let things happen organically, you gain a better understanding of their true intentions and whether they align with what you want and deserve. That your time is valuable. You are not there to prove yourself or convince anyone of your worth. Instead, you're assessing whether this person adds value to your life. Do they inspire you? Do they bring positivity and support into your world? If the answer is no, then you have every right to walk away without guilt. Observing allows you to protect your energy and prioritize your well-being, ensuring that you invest your time in someone who genuinely deserves it. When you stop chasing and start observing, you reclaim your power. You shift the dynamic from seeking approval to assessing compatibility. This isn't about being cold or detached. It's about valuing yourself enough to let others show you, through their actions, whether they're capable of meeting your standards. So take your time, watch carefully, and trust that the right person will show up in a way that leaves no doubt about their intentions. If they don't, you'll have the clarity and confidence to move forward, knowing you've stayed true to yourself. Your boundaries are a reflection of your self-respect and self-worth. They are not about keeping people out, but about defining how you allow others to engage with you. Boundaries are not walls, they are gates that open for the right people, those who respect, honor, and appreciate the standards you've set for yourself. When reconnecting with someone after a period of silence, your ability to uphold these boundaries becomes a critical measure of your growth and self-awareness. Setting boundaries begins with understanding your own needs. It's about identifying what feels right to you, what aligns with your values, and what contributes to your emotional well-being. Boundaries are not rules for others, they are guidelines for yourself. They help you navigate relationships with clarity and integrity, ensuring that you don't compromise your own happiness or sense of self for the sake of someone else's approval. If you don't know your boundaries, it's easy to fall into patterns of people-pleasing or overextending yourself to meet someone else's expectations. When reconnecting with someone, you're not just testing their intentions, you're also testing your ability to uphold your standards. It's one thing to know what you want, it's another to enforce it when faced with someone who challenges or disregards your boundaries. This is where the real strength lies. Not in setting the boundary, but in maintaining it, even when it's uncomfortable or when you fear it might drive someone away. Boundaries aren't about controlling others. They're about controlling your own actions and responses. Healthy boundaries are flexible yet firm. They allow room for understanding and growth, but never compromise your core values. If someone respects you, they will honor your boundaries without hesitation or resistance. They won't try to guilt you into lowering your standards or make you feel unreasonable for having them. Instead, they'll see your boundaries as a sign of self-respect and maturity, and they'll rise to meet them. On the other hand, if someone pushes against your boundaries, dismisses them, or tries to manipulate you into changing them, that's a clear red flag. It's a sign that they may not be willing or able to meet you at the level you deserve. Upholding your boundaries is also an act of self-love. It's a way of telling yourself that you are worthy of respect, care, and consideration. When you enforce your boundaries, you're sending a message to yourself and others that your needs matter and that you won't settle for less than you deserve. This act of self-respect has a ripple effect. It sets the tone for how others treat you and empowers you to make choices that align with your best interests. It's important to remember that boundaries are not static. They evolve as you grow and learn. What you needed a year ago may not be what you need now, and that's okay. The key is to stay connected to yourself and regularly evaluate whether your boundaries still serve you. When you reconnect with someone, Take note of how they respond to the new version of you and your current standards. Are they willing to adapt and respect the person you've become? Or do they cling to an outdated version of you that no longer exists? Your boundaries define you not by limiting others, but by protecting your peace. They're a declaration of what you will and won't accept, and they act as a filter for the relationships that truly belong in your life. By standing firm in your boundaries, you create space for the right people to step in, those who see your worth and are willing to treat you with the respect and care you deserve. This is not just a test of their intentions, but a testament to your own growth, strength, and unwavering commitment to honoring yourself. Actions have a weight that words can never carry. While words can inspire, soothe, or express intentions, actions reveal truth. When reconnecting with someone, especially after a period of no contact, what you do will always overshadow what you say. It's easy to declare growth or change, but it's the consistent display of that growth that leaves a lasting impression. True transformation doesn't require an announcement. It shines through in how you carry yourself, how you respond, and how you live. When you've invested in yourself and emerged stronger, there's no need to explain every step of your journey. Your actions will tell the story for you. Your newfound grace, resilience, and self-assurance will become evident in how you engage with others, handle challenges, and maintain your boundaries. There's a quiet confidence in showing who you've become rather than trying to convince someone with words. The energy you carry speaks louder than any speech you could give. This doesn't mean you shouldn't communicate or articulate your feelings when necessary, but it does mean that your focus should be on embodying your growth rather than over-explaining it. For example, instead of telling someone, "I've learned to set boundaries," demonstrate it by gracefully but firmly saying no when something doesn't align with your values. Instead of declaring, "I'm stronger now," let your calm, composed reactions to difficult situations reflect that strength. When your actions align with your words, you don't need to validate yourself to others. They'll see it and feel it. The power of showing, rather than telling, lies in its authenticity. Words can be rehearsed or manipulated, but actions come from a deeper place. They reflect your true character, priorities, and intentions. People can easily doubt your words, but they cannot deny the evidence of your actions. If you've truly grown, it will be clear in the way you hold yourself, the choices you make, and the way you navigate life. There's no need to over-explain or justify yourself when your actions consistently align with the person you've become. This approach also fosters trust. When someone sees that your actions back up your words, they begin to trust not only what you say, but also who you are. This trust is built gradually through consistent behavior over time. It shows that you're not just putting on a performance or saying what they want to hear, you're living your truth. This kind of integrity is magnetic. It draws the right people toward you while naturally weeding out those who are not aligned with your values. Showing rather than telling allows you to protect your energy. Over-explaining or trying to prove yourself can feel draining and even diminish the sense of self-worth you've worked so hard to build. By letting your actions speak, you place the focus back on yourself rather than seeking external validation. You shift the dynamic, no longer feeling the need to convince others of your value because you know it within yourself. This approach is particularly powerful when reconnecting with someone. If they've been absent during your growth, let them see the changes in how you engage, the boundaries you uphold, and the grace with which you navigate the interaction. Allow them to observe the difference between who you were and who you are now. Let them wonder, let them reflect, and let them realize the work you've done without you needing to spell it out. Your growth isn't about proving anything to anyone. It's about living in alignment with your values and showing up as the best version of yourself. When you do this, you'll find that the right people will recognize and appreciate your transformation without you having to utter a single word. Trust that your actions, rooted in authenticity, will always speak volumes more than words ever could. In life and relationships, Your actions, self-respect, and unwavering confidence define who you are far more than any words you could speak. Reconnecting after a period of no contact is not about proving your worth to anyone else. It's about embodying the growth you've achieved, holding firm to your boundaries, and letting your grace and resilience shine through. Your silence has given you clarity, your boundaries have defined your standards, and your actions now demonstrate the strength of the person you've become. You are not here to chase, beg, or explain yourself. You are here to stand tall, observe, and let your energy attract what is truly meant for you. By staying true to yourself, you create space for the right people and the right outcomes to enter your life naturally, without force or compromise. Let your light speak for itself. It will always guide you toward the connections and opportunities you deserve. Let this be your mantra. Repeat it frequently, and your energy will grow stronger. This is your chief assistant, which will always guide you toward the connections and opportunities you deserve. Thank you for taking this journey of self-reflection and growth. Stay strong, stay focused, and always remember the incredible power you hold within.